This is one of the hardest videos I have ever recorded. I spent years on the other side of that window. I was the one holding the flashlight.
Here is the situation. You are driving. It is late, or maybe it is the middle of the afternoon. It does not matter. What matters is what happens in the first 30 seconds after those lights appear in your mirror. You pull over. Your stomach drops. That is normal. Your hands go to 10 and 2 without thinking, because some part of you already knows that everything you do from this moment forward is being observed. The officer is watching before a single word is spoken. The way you pulled over, how fast, where you stopped, whether your hands are visible through the glass. You sit and you wait. The cruiser door opens, footsteps on asphalt. The beam of a flashlight sweeps the back of your car. The officer appears at your window. You hand over your license and registration slowly, explaining what you are reaching for before your hand moves. The officer takes them, returns to the cruiser. You wait. 2 minutes, maybe 5. The radio crackles. The lights are still going. Then the officer comes back, leans slightly toward the window, and after a pause just long enough for your guard to come down, the question lands. Can I search your car? Most people make one of two mistakes. They say yes, not because they want to, but because the uniform and the lights and the silence make yes feel like the only reasonable answer. Or they say no the wrong way. Raised voice, an explanation, a legal challenge, and the encounter changes shape entirely. Neither is the right response. And by the time the wrong choice is made, the moment has already moved past the point where a correction is easy. That is what this video is about, not theory. The exact moment, the exact words, and the exact understanding you need before it happens to you.
The officer approaches. You hand over your license and registration. The exchange feels routine, and then the question comes.
If this is the kind of information that could protect someone you love, someone who drives home late, someone who gets nervous around flashing lights, someone who would not know what to say in that moment, share this video right now, not at the end. Now. Because the person who needs this most is probably not the one watching. It is the one they will call afterward, asking what they should have done.
Most people either say yes out of fear or say no in a way that changes everything. I am not giving you a sentence. I am giving you a structure.
There are 3 conditions that make this encounter dangerous, and most people never recognize any of them until after the fact. The first condition is the absence of documentation. No dashcam. No recording where it is legal to record. No clear record of what was said, in what order, by whom. Without documentation, the encounter exists only in 2 memories, yours and the officer's. Both formed under stress, in a moment moving quickly. Memory under stress is not reliable. Details compress, blur, reorder. The words that were said become uncertain within 20 minutes of the stop ending. Without documentation, the encounter has no anchor. Whatever happened is now a version of events. The second condition is not knowing whether you are being asked or ordered. The question, "Can I search your car?" is a request. It is not a command, but it is delivered by someone in authority, with flashing lights and a uniform and the weight of every encounter you have ever feared. Most people do not hear a question. They hear something mandatory. They nod, or they say, "Sure," or they say nothing, and silence is treated as yes. Understanding that this is a question, not a directive, is the difference between keeping your options open and giving them away. The third condition is consent given with extra words. You do not have to say yes for your answer to function as yes. Saying, "I guess so," is yes. Saying, "Sure, go ahead," is yes. Saying, "I have nothing to hide," while reaching for the door handle is yes. Even silence, a long pause followed by a small shrug, can be read as compliance. You just have to fail to say no clearly. And most people fail it, not because they were tricked, but because saying no clearly and calmly feels aggressive in that moment. It feels like it will make things worse. That feeling is the condition. That is the gap the question is designed to enter. No witness, no recording, no clear reason. Any one of these alone changes the encounter. All three together, and you are already behind before the officer finishes the sentence.
That question sounds like a request. It is a request, but it is delivered with a uniform with flashing lights. Most people process all of that as a command.
Now, here is the phrase, before your hand moves toward the door, before you say yes because the silence is pressing on you and you want the moment to end, before you start explaining that you have nothing to hide, that you are a good person, that you just want this to be over, before fear becomes permission.
I do not consent. 4 words, said once, said flat. No but, no because, no apology. Just those 4 words and then you stop talking.
I know what you are thinking. That is it? 4 words. Yes, that is exactly why it works. The phrase does not win an argument. It does not force anyone to back down. It does not guarantee that the search does not happen. What it does is change the nature of the moment. Before you say it, the encounter is moving toward automatic compliance, toward a yes that was never actually spoken, but was understood as given. After you say it, there is now a stated record. You were asked. You did not consent. That fact exists, regardless of what happens next. The power is in the simplicity. A long explanation gives the officer more to work with. A legal citation can sound like a challenge and shift the tone of the encounter in a direction you do not want. An apology sounds like uncertainty. A question sounds like an invitation to negotiate. 4 words, said flat, said once, with no qualifier on either end. That is a complete statement. It communicates exactly what needs to be communicated without opening any new doors. I know what you may be thinking next. That is too simple. It will not actually change anything. Here is the answer to that. The phrase does not need to change the officer's mind. It needs to change the record. The moment you have said it, the encounter is no longer one where consent was silently implied. It is one where consent was explicitly denied. That distinction matters more than most people realize, not in the next 30 seconds, but in everything that comes after. Say it once and stop. There are 3 protective actions that keep the phrase from being wasted. These do not require legal training. They require knowing them before the moment arrives. The first, say it once and do not add to it. No, because I have nothing to hide. No, my lawyer told me. Every word after the phrase is a new variable introduced into the encounter. More words equal more exposure. You may say something that sounds like partial consent. You may provide the very detail that changes the officer's assessment. The phrase is complete. Let it be complete. The second, keep your hands visible and announce every movement before you make it. I'm reaching for my registration. Slowly. No sudden shifts. Physical calm reinforces verbal calm. The phrase tells the officer where you stand. Your hands tell the officer you are not a threat. The third, After the stop is over, write down exactly what happened. The time, the location, the officer's name or badge number if visible, what was said, in what order. Not for a lawsuit, for your own clear record. Memory degrades in under 30 minutes under stress. The details that seem obvious right now are the ones you will lose first. The phrase protects the moment. The documentation protects the record.
It'll only take a second. You've got nothing to hide, right? These are designed to make refusal feel like an accusation against yourself.
The second pressure tactic is urgency. The encounter starts to move fast. Step out. Pop the trunk. Come on, let's go. Commands delivered before you have processed whether you are being asked or ordered. Sometimes the speed is not intentional. The situation just moves the way encounters move, with each small step building on the last. But the effect is the same. When things accelerate, your ability to think clearly decreases. The faster it moves, the less likely you are to remember that you have options. The phrase is a break. Use it at the first request. Once the trunk is already open, the phrase still has value, but it is harder to use well. Use it early.
The officer sighs. The voice shifts. Don't make this difficult. Your instinct is to apologize and comply. That instinct will cost you.
This is where we walk through the decision path. Know this before the question arrives, not during it. The officer asks to search your car. You say, "I do not consent." Once, calmly, hands visible. If the officer gives a clear, specific, lawful reason, a warrant, an explicit statement of probable cause, your priority is calm compliance. You do not physically resist. You move slowly. You announce your movements. You document afterward. The time to address what happened is not on the side of the road. If the officer gives a vague answer, routine, procedure, because I said so, don't make this difficult. You use the follow-up phrase. Quietly. Once. Officer, I am not trying to make this difficult. I am not consenting to a search. If you have a reason that requires it, I will cooperate with that. You are asking for clarity, not escalating. If the officer becomes irritated, tone shifts, volume rises. You do not mirror the emotion. You do not raise your voice. You say once more if needed, I am not consenting, but I will not interfere. Hands visible, voice level. Safety first. Document everything when safe. You are not trying to win. You are asking for clarity and keeping the record clean.
You are not refusing lawful commands. You are asking for clarity. Those are different things. If this channel has given you value, subscribe now.
Now the 3 mistakes that destroy the protection even when the words are right. The first, saying the phrase with the wrong energy. I do not consent, said with a smirk, is a challenge. Said with sarcasm or a raised voice, it shifts the encounter from a rights exercise to a confrontation. The words are correct. The tone destroys them. An officer who perceives a challenge responds differently than one who hears a flat, unremarkable statement. Flat. Calm. Once. Said the way you would say, I take my coffee black. There is no performance here. There is only the record. The second, adding words after the phrase. Silence after I do not consent feels uncomfortable. The instinct is to soften it, to show the officer you are reasonable. Resist it completely. I do not consent because I have nothing to hide. Now you have made a claim about the contents of the car. I do not consent. My lawyer said not to. Now there are new questions. Every word you add is a new thread that can be pulled. The phrase is the entire statement. Stop there. The third, moving while asking. You say, I do not consent, and simultaneously reach toward the glove box, or you crack the door while asking for clarification. Any unsolicited movement changes the dynamic regardless of the words. Before any movement, announce it first. Then wait. Then move slowly. The phrase protects your voice. Your stillness protects the phrase. What if it is already too late? What if you already said yes? Sure, go ahead, before you could catch it. What if the trunk is already open? What if something has been found that you do not recognize? A bag left by a previous passenger. Something you did not put there and genuinely have no knowledge of. Do not panic. Panic is the enemy of the record. Everything you do under panic makes the situation worse and harder to untangle later. Do not grab anything. Do not touch the object. Do not reach toward it. Do not start explaining what it is or where it came from. Say this, clearly and calmly. I want to note that I didn't consent to this search. That statement goes on the record now. The fact that you said yes earlier does not permanently close this door. Then ask, am I free to go or am I being detained? That question requires the officer to define the legal status of the moment. It is not combative. It is a specific legal question. Wait for the answer. Do not fill the silence with explanation. If a lawful arrest follows, your next sentence is this one. I want to speak to an attorney before I make any statements. Then you are silent. Not rude, not combative. Silent. The record is not destroyed because a mistake was made. The record begins the moment you start clearly stating what you did and did not consent to. Write everything down the moment you are safe. Every word, the time, the location, the exact sequence. Seek legal counsel before making any further statements about what was found.
Do not panic. Do not grab anything. Do not start explaining. Say this, I want to note that I did not consent to this search. Then stop talking.
Now let me show you two versions of the same moment. First version. It is past 10 at night. You are on a 2-lane road, and the lights appear in your mirror without warning. Red and blue. You pull cleanly to the shoulder. Hands at 10 and 2. The officer sweeps the flashlight across the back window. Reaches yours. License and registration. You move slowly. I am reaching for my registration. Documents handed over. 2.5 minutes pass. The officer comes back, leans toward the window. Mind if I take a look in the back? You breathe once. You do not reach toward anything. You say, I do not consent. Once. Flat. You have something to hide? You do not answer that. You wait. 3 seconds. Then, all right, you're free to go. You say nothing extra. 3 blocks later, you pull over and write down everything. Time, location, badge number if you caught it. Every word exchanged. The record is clean. You handled it correctly. Second version. A checkpoint. Moving fast. The officer is already leaning toward your car before the window is fully down. Pop the trunk for me. You say okay before you process it. The trunk is open. The officer is looking. You do not step out. You do not narrate the contents. You say quietly, I want to note that I didn't consent to this search. The officer finds a bag, not yours. You don't know what is in it. You don't touch it. I don't know what that is. I want to speak to an attorney before I make any statements. Calm. Still. Hands visible. No argument. It is not resolved on the side of that road. But the record now contains your statement. You did not make it worse in the moment you were most tempted to. That is not nothing. That is everything.
This is not about disrespecting police. Most officers are doing their jobs. Rights awareness should stabilize an encounter. A calm citizen is not a problem for an officer with a legitimate reason.
The phrase is, "I do not consent." Say it once. Do not add to it. Keep your hands visible and announce every movement before you make it. If the reason is clear and lawful, comply calmly and document afterward. If the answer is vague, use the follow-up. Officer, I am not trying to make this difficult. I am not consenting to a search. If you have a reason that requires it, I will cooperate with that. If the tone shifts, do not mirror it. The three biggest mistakes: wrong tone, extra words, moving while asking. Each one gives away the pause the phrase was designed to create. And if the moment has already passed, state your non-consent on the record immediately. Do not explain the object. Ask whether you are free to go or being detained, and say nothing further without counsel. This does not guarantee an outcome. Rules vary depending on where you are and what facts are present. What this does is give you the clearest possible record and the best foundation for whatever comes next. Send this to someone who drives alone at night and would not know what to say when those lights appear. Send it to someone who has been through a stop like this and did not know there was another option. Comment your city below. Tell me what the officer said after the first question. Those details matter, and other people watching this need to hear them.
I stood on the other side of that window for years. That is why this was hard to record. Not because the information is dangerous, because it should not have to be necessary.